For those that don't know me, my name is Mark Reynolds. Till recently I was a senior arborist at Boroondara Council. On and off for the past 15 years I've been in council, generally been in planning. Tree management plans are something as a council arborist that I've been really passionate about, because quite frankly we just don't do well as consultants and as council. I just don't think that we're there, we're not even close. As Wolfgang said, all the best laid plans often fail because tree management plans aren't enforceable, they're not written properly, they're hard to understand. My experience with a number of developers over the years is that they get them, there's big slabs of text, they're not written in any order. They look at them and they go, I don't know what this means, I don't even know what to do, I'm not going to watch. They don't get it. They don't care about the biology of the tree. They don't care about how roots need to be protected. All they care about is what they need to do, because they've got to worry about services, getting the slab, getting the house built. They're in the business of making money building houses, not protecting trees. That's what we need to do, and we need to help them by writing proper tree management plans. So, from the very start, we touched on this before, and we'll touch on it. The initial planning, from the very start, is the crucial thing for tree management. If a tree just can't be kept, and as consultants we're pushing the boundaries, and we're getting closer and closer to a tree, and it's just not going to work on the site, it's not going to work at the end of the project. You're not going to be able to put tree management, fencing in, you're not going to be able to do a whole lot of things because there's site access issues and various other things to go through. But key thing to look at is the levels of the land. So what are the existing levels and how they're going to be affected through the development. Most places in urban Melbourne have height restrictions of about 8 metres, 8 to 9 metres, so you need to look at, that's usually taken with a footpath. So if you've got a raised site and you've got a single dwelling on top of it, what they'll want to do is excavate that site, usually boundary to boundary, so they can put 2 or 3 stories. You need to look at the existing structures on the site. What existing buildings are there, how they're going to affect potentially the root spread, and how you're going to be able to remove them during demolition for a development site. How is that going to affect the tree or tree? The existing services, sometimes it's a bit difficult to find where they are. You don't know through the planning process. There's no requirement to provide service plans. That's usually at the end of the so we don't know. But there are signs. Sometimes you'll see an inspection opening, which will be a trigger that there could be services. That's where the connection comes, or in the back corner in the easement. So you might see them, but you might not. So we've touched on this throughout the day. You don't even consider the below ground portions of the tree protection zone, but the above ground. How is the canopy going to be affected? Is it a 2-story dwelling? Is there going to be scaffolding? How much extra of the canopy needs to be pruned for IHS movements during building? A lot of the time people say, oh, it's fine, we're only 10%, but 3/4 of the canopy has to come off. Yeah, it's just not practical. The other things to think of are site access, and I'll show you a picture as we go. As a council arborist, a lot of people said if we're protecting trees on the neighbouring site, they'd say put a tree protection fence along the boundary. It was a two-dwelling development, side-by-side development. Fence went right to the edge of the house. So you put the fence up, you can't get to the back of the site to construct. So it's not practical to do. Think about where the building materials can be stored. They can't always be stored on council nature strips. It has to be a site on, position in the front of the site generally, so they can store their building materials. If it's a larger site, there will often be a site shed. As I said before, 2-story or more, there'll be scaffolding, there'll be probably 2 or 3 metres extra outside of the building envelope. It has to be considered. And obviously the wash-up areas. The other thing to think of is, and we've talked about before, is when you're doing basement, the edge effect of that basement is usually a metre, something like a metre and a half. It's the same thing for a single dwelling because there's often stormwater that has to run through the sewage. That's never taken into account. And as consultants, we often go to council and say, oh, the building footprint's only 10%, but in reality, it's more than that. It's going to be another metre, metre and a half outside of that. So, first thing to consider is who the audience is. As I mentioned, it's not generally other arborists, although the council arborists will approve the plan. They should understand it, but it needs to be written in plain English. The builder, project manager, homeowner can understand. Like an instruction document or a prescriptive document that steps out what they need to do, when and where and how. That's all it needs to be. So it shouldn't be a regurgitation of the Australian standard. A lot of the time, tree management plans, they just look at the standard, they copy it, paste it in and think that that's good enough. That doesn't cut it. It shouldn't be about the merits of tree retention and whether or not trees should be retained. That should already be worked out at the start. So, if council is determined that a tree has to be retained, it's retained regardless of its condition. And it should not be a compilation of general tree management considerations. So it should be site specific. So every site is different. It has different, as I said before, different levels, topography, existing structures that might have been in the site. There's a whole range of things. So you really need to take those into consideration. It's not just a blanket set of instructions that you can apply to every site. It needs to be written in order from pre-demolition right the way through to the landscape stage. It must detail who's responsible for the tree management plan. As Corey mentioned, it has to be written in a clear and concise manner. This is really important. As council arborists at Burundara, we have to pull out of 2 magistrates for proceedings because the tree management plan should have written. And the lawyer said we can't enforce it. We can't do anything because it's should. And obviously the builder's on, well, I can't do it, so I don't have to. So we lost it, and we didn't even go through the case. So it is critical, it has to be written in direct language, will or must be used. So the Australian standard talks about 3 critical stages being pre-construction, construction and post-construction. And that should be the format that we follow in writing the tree management plan. I generally agree with that. I think that there's another couple of steps involved, which I'll talk about. The tree protection plan is probably the most critical thing in the tree management plan. If anyone's ever been out to a development site, large or small, there'll be a little site shed. You walk into that site shed, there's plans all over the table. There's not pieces of paper, A4 paper, which is a document, it's plans. So there's much information that can be on that plan, what they need to do about it. They'll have that with their set of drawings. It's all dimensioned, what they have to do, where and when, and at what stage, and they'll understand it. I know that methodology is working because I've been involved in quite a few projects that it is actually working on. And I'll talk about another issue a bit further on. As I said, it must be a notation on the plan referencing all the activities that they should do. As I talked about before, this development, protecting the neighbouring trees, the consultant has suggested putting in tree protection fencing on 2 sides, right up to the building line. Now, one, you can't construct right up, putting a fence right up to the building line. It's just impossible. I mean, for OHS reasons, you can't do that. This is often what you get as council, which as a council arborist, and you have to turn around and say, well, it's not practical. Like, we can't protect those trees, put them in a fence. There was no mention of ground protection system that could have been used. That's always something to think about, site access. I'm just going to run through what I think it should be a suggested format and what it should cover. I'll do it pretty quickly, so I know time's getting away from us. So, it should have a brief background about the site. What's the permit condition, what's the permit number, what's it in reference to. A list of what trees are going to be protected, what they are, their diagram, just basic information. As I said, not any information about their health, structure, all that kind of thing. Regardless, we don't need to know that as part of the tree management plan. A list of the general activities, as we talked about before, or Corey talked about, there's a list in the Australian Standard. I think those should be included because they give an indication to a builder what they should and shouldn't do. If there has been any exploratory route investigation undertaken as part of the assessment process, I think that should be included because it gives a guide where, say if there are some route pruning activities as part of the construction, it gives a guide to the builder or whoever where they are and what needs to be done. It's not always put in tree management plans, I think it should be. So, to talk about before, the pre-construction stage, construction stage and the post-construction stage in the Australian Standard. A lot of the time, trees get damaged during demolition. It's not construction, they're already damaged because the excavators line in, take it out of the existing house, run over the roots, broke them up. I think that there needs to be a pre-demolition stage. Now, as part of the planning system, a person can go and demolish a site before they get a planning permit. And there are no controls by council. Council doesn't have the power to stop or enforce tree management as part of a demolition permit. There's no requirement under doing that. So people get that clear. But if they haven't done that, house is still hopefully tenanted and they've gone through the planning permit process. Council can write a condition saying pre-demolition you must do all these activities. And then it's enforceable. So pre-demolition stage should outline all the things that's listed there. I won't go through every single one of them, but it's the basic things of how the building is going to be demolished, where the fencing is going to go, where the signage is going to go, any vegetation infrastructure removal outside or within the tree protection zone that has to be undertaken, and how it's going to be undertaken. And obviously there should be an induction with the demolisher, first and foremost. The second stage is the pre-construction stage. Now I call it the pre-construction stage because it's the site set-out stage. It's where they come along and they spray on the fence, marks, they put their posts in, they get their levels. They work out where all the drainage is going to go, or sewage. That's the pre-construction stage that is critical because it's usually plumbers that come in and trench, open trench, they don't care about anything, and do the damage. You meet with the plumbers on site, you talk about what they need to do within certain tree protection areas and guide them, whether they have to do boring or air spray and put the pipe underneath. The pre-demolition and pre-construction stage I think is the most critical. Then there's the construction stage, and that's generally supervision of putting the footings in. Now once the footings are in, it's usually just framework, which so long as the tree protection zone is protected with fencing or ground protection, there shouldn't be any need to move that because all the underground services should be in. It's just framing, they should just be working generally within the footprint of the building. So, supervision by a project arborist probably peters off a little bit during that stage. Again, when it comes to landscape construction, again, this is where irrigation systems can do damage to trees, and you need to meet with the landscape contractors on site to guide them what they need to do. Because without any offence to landscape construction guys, it's usually them that do the most damage to trees after everything else has happened right. And it's usually when council arborists tend to think, oh, we've saved that tree, it's all good, there's been no damage, we've done really well. Landscapers come in and go, oh, there's a retaining wall there, which you might not know about. So, definitely the landscape stage is a major consideration. One of the things that I started doing when I was at Burundara is thinking about this idea of certification. It's not widely used. There's a bit of background in terms of planning and building. Planning can put conditions on a permit for a multi-dwelling development, or one or more dwellings, two or more dwellings, or if there's an overlap. As part of those conditions, they can put a condition on that the council or the project arborist must certify that they have been to each stage of the development and been there, check that the tree protection, fencing and the like is in place, or the tree management considerations, take photos, and then keep a record of that for that stage. Now, if council put that certification condition on, it's not only enforceable by council if they don't do that, but when they go and get their building permit, as part of a building permit, you need to, a building permit condition, which is standard, says that you must comply with all the conditions of a planning permit before you can get your certificate of occupancy. Now, from my experience, we used to call it Section 69 of the Bluff Act, where we would say, if you don't do all this, as part of the condition, not only will you get a fine, you don't get your certificate of occupancy. Now that rings alarm bells because they want to sell it, they want to move on. They don't want to have this sort of stuff over their head. You'd be surprised how many project arborists are out on site doing induction meetings as soon as you start giving that up. And some of the projects that I've worked on, I don't even know when the development's going to start, but there's three recently. I've had a call, said, I've read the tree management plan, we need to get you out and start on site before we do the demolition. And then I go through everything, and it seems to be working. So, might not be 100% right, but it seems to be better than what it was. So key things to consider who the audience is when you're writing tree management plans. As I said, it's with builders. They just need instruction of what they need to do and when. Format needs to be clear. It doesn't have to be written with big slabs of text. It's almost like dot points, which are like more in the table. Deep concise language, it needs to be specific to the site. Don't need to include tree protection measures that aren't relevant, like range protection. If that's not relevant, don't put it in there and say it could be used. If it's not relevant, it's not relevant. Same with ground protection. Or if fencing is not relevant and all you can do is ground protection, don't talk about fencing. And think about how the site's going to be accessed. Often you get outside, trades go, I need to get my car in here, I need to get around there to get down to the back. I'll move the fence. They don't move the fence 1 metre. They grab all the fencing and they push it up against the tree, right out of the way. And that's what we want to try and avoid. The other thing is for council, it's vital that the conditions on the permit are relevant, they're achievable and they're enforceable. I don't think as council arborists that we're doing it as well as we do it all the time. I've been involved with having to prepare tree management plans where it's just not achievable, but there's a condition on the permit that says that they have to put fencing and the like up. There's one recently where there's a setback of 2 metres from the building line to the fence, and there's a row of pyrus about 30 centimetres behind it. They want fencing and tree management all through. It's just not achievable. So the conditions need to be written in such a way that they are achievable and they are relevant. Now, we're just going to go through an example of one that I did recently on a significant tree. This was a root investigation. That's non-toxic. It's not toxic paint. It's set out in such a way, this is supposed to be printed at A3. Again, so they can take it out, like I said, certified. Now it might look like a lot of writing, but again, there's the background, what trees to be protected, the general activities to be restricted. And then it goes through who the project arborist should be and what qualifications they should have. And then it goes through each stage and what they are required to do. And again, most of these the ticks are required in this one. But it only talks about what's required on the site. Obviously the induction, location, what pruning is required and vegetation periods. The infrastructure removal, mulching, ground protection, obviously ground protection is not required, but the fencing is. Signage, root pruning, it says there no root pruning is required in this instance. And then you can see down the bottom there it's got certification of stage 1 works, and I'll go through that a bit further. Then you've got stage 2. So again, there's an induction meeting, as I said, with the builder, the plumbers, whoever's going to be doing any excavation, you need to meet with them and talk about what they need to do. Utility service and location. It describes what needs to happen, and as I said, I'll show you on the plan coming up where that's located. Again, maintenance of the tree protection area. So that's make sure the fencing's in place, it's mulched, there's been no changes since the initial installation. Then during construction stage, it's really only about making sure that the tree protection area is maintained. And then obviously the footings comply with that, whether they be pure and beam or full plot stone. Then the landscaping stage. You see, at each stage is a certification of the works at each stage. So, in essence, it should be a minimum of 5 times that the project arborist goes out to the site and signs off that those things are being in place. Sometimes we get tree management plans where the arborist will say, I just need to come out at the end and sign off that it's all been done. Well, that's pointless because you don't know where the fencing has been throughout the project. You don't know what damages occurred. It's not really attractive. So as I said, they should be drawn in CAD. The green circle there is a tree protection zone. In this I've used the ground floor plan as the base because that's what they're going to be going off during construction. The middle blue line is the line of the fencing during demolition because the existing building sits out here. So that was where the initial fence went, and then during construction it's moved back to an 8 metre radius. Now, you don't know, well, a good thing to tell builders is the panel length for each panel is about 2.4 metres. So if you know roughly where the fence is going to go, if you've got a walk wheel or a tape measure, take it out, divide by 2.4, it tells you how many panels there are. Which I've got written down here. So 18 panels during demolition and 12 panels during construction. This site I went out to, and they knew exactly how many they had to get, they knew exactly where it had to go. And I'll show you a picture a bit further on. As I said before, it's all notated, the sizes, so they can, in essence, the very least that they did when they went out on site is that they took that, they know what to do. This is just a few examples of ground protection. We've also showed some rumble boards or crossover protection boards. Excerpts from the Australian standard. Now this is a template. I put this in my tree management plans because I think the quicker it is for a project arborist to go out on site and certify, tick yes, 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 no, what's been in place, what they need to do, keep a record of it. This document essentially at the end of the project can be handed back to council and say, I was there at pre-demolition, this is what I did, this is what they had to fix. The first date that I went there was such and such a date, and I came back and now put the signage up, it's all okay. Same thing during pre-construction. And all of these relate back to the wording of the tree management plan. Again, stage 3 during construction, all those items there, and landscape construction. And then the final certification, which basically is a statement saying the project arborist has been out there during all these stages to the best of their knowledge when they've been out on site. The tree has been protected, the trees have been protected, and what's the ongoing monitoring interval that's recommended. So if that's all filled out, that can be then given with photographs Tractor Council, and that's the certification document. Just going quickly, if you're going to do a tree protection fence, it's a good idea to put the dimensions of how big that fence is rather than just drawing lines, because often the fence will shrink out in sight. This is a few examples of after demolition where the fencing is going to be located. That plan is actually in reference to this site here. It doesn't look like it, but that's an 8 metre radius. Now, just under demolition, there's a few more trees to be removed surrounding this main tree, which is a sugar. But again, I don't know if you can see down here, they've just been cut off at ground level. Eventually, it's all going to be mulched. This just showing straight out of the Australian standard, cork flute sign. They cost about $6 to get printed. It's not that difficult. And obviously fencing, it's not that expensive to put in tree protection fencing. I think the 12 metres of fencing, or 12 panels of fencing with the signage was about $800. And that's purchased outright. So it's not that expensive. Again, you can see this is in Bone Morris. This is their primary site access. It's going to be a driveway above grade. There's a red gum next door. Obviously, an example of ground protection boards over the site. They're still in place today. That's working as well. Right. Thanks very much.